Margaux Miller, welcome to Entrepreneur Talks podcast. I'm
Hi,
so good.
Yola.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for having me. My pleasure to be here.
Oh, you're welcome. I think I click at the live scene a little bit earlier, but I hope everyone join us after a while. Realize we are live. So we are live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I don't know why I always keep saying Instagram. It's no Instagram. It's LinkedIn. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And tell me, where are you talking from?
Yeah, I am in Winnipeg, Manitoba, so right in the middle of Canada. It is very
Um,
cold here today, so having chats inside virtually is a great place to be, Yola.
oh wow, how cold! Yeah, tell me about it. Here in London is the same. It's been a little bit cold. Like the weather just changed, become very, very cold. But this is life, right? And
Absolutely.
we need the cold weather, right? So
Yeah, we get all the seasons here, so it's fun for us, reminds you to kind of try different activities, get outside even when it's cold. You can take advantage of wherever you are if you want to.
that's right, that's right. And now, in 3 words, could you tell us who is Margaux Miller?
Ooh, this is funny. This is a tough one when you're on the spot, Yola. I did a personality test a little while ago. I like to kind of like see these things every once in a while. And the first word that it gave me is zest. And it meant like a zest for life. And I loved that one. So zest, charisma, and oh gosh, does community count? Community.
Yes, community person. Yes, yes, of
Community
course.
builder. Yeah, if we'll
Yeah.
hyphenate it. We'll allow that to be one word.
I think like community helper or supporter, or it will be like serving others.
Yeah, like connector, maybe if we want one word. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
thread that kind of pulls through a lot of what I do personally and professionally. So
oh
that's a
wow.
good starter question there, Yola.
Because I've got an idea straight away who is talking with me. This is really, really interesting. It's always different kind of answers. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know. I'm just curious. Zest, can you tell me more about Zest?
Yeah,
What it
I really loved that when I saw it recently. It is kind of a funny word right off the bat, but it really what it was referring to is someone who has a zest for life, like a joy for life, really a passion. I think passionate used to be a word that I would use to describe myself because everything I do, I'm kind of the way I am now. Like I'm excited and I'm energetic, and if I'm gonna do something, I really put a lot of energy and passion into it. And I think this word zest is kind of like a really easy way to see that it because I think when people think of it, they
Mm,
think of like energy and happiness and kind of this like charisma. It's kind of all
right.
rolled into one word, right? And so that is what it meant. It meant someone who like takes advantage of life and to the fullest and is happy about it and energetic for kind of whatever that path is to come.
Yeah,
And
fantastic.
I think that that's really been a quality that's helped guide me because I think if you jump in with both feet and really give anything a chance, there is such a great opportunity for that thing to succeed, or at the very least for you to
Yeah.
really truly know whether that thing was right for you or not. But if you only dabble and you don't really commit to something, then even if it doesn't work out, you kind of don't know if it was because of you or because you actually weren't a fit for whatever that situation was you were in. So I think it's really like it's almost a good lesson to remember to really kind of go with zest, go with energy and passion,
Oh,
and
love
then
it.
you'll at least know. And if it's great, it's going to be really great because you've jumped in.
That's really good. Wow, wow. Love it, love it. And that's why you started Toptal?
So
Toptal.
I didn't start Toptal. I started a podcast called Start Canada Podcast. I
Ah,
work at Toptal on part of the time, so we've got both initiatives there. Toptal is a freelance network that has thousands of freelancers around the world. It's the
ah,
world's largest freelance network for professional roles. We have a lot of developers and designers, a lot of tech personalities.
interesting.
Yes, who are super highly skilled. So they're in the top 3% of the world. So they've been vetted before coming into the freelance network. And my role at Toptal as the head of community is to really bring all of these freelancers together so that they have this opportunity to really embrace the fact that they're part of this freelance community,
Oh,
as opposed
wow.
to feeling like they're a freelancer who works by themselves and happens to work for Toptal, right? We have these thousands of freelancers who are so highly skilled and so, interesting and intelligent. And this isn't my role as an opportunity to help them find one another
Oh,
through our
wow.
network and do engagement and participate in events and participate in programs to help develop their skills, all while kind of connecting with these amazing minds from around the world. So really cool opportunity, and a really, really interesting business at Toptal. Very much the future of work.
You sound very happy at Toptal because it's not your own business, but you sound like it's part of yourself. That's amazing. It's amazing. I
That's like one of the things I think we'll end up talking about a bit today, Yola, as far as like the title that people came and looked at here, that in our conversation about increasing engagement by working remotely. Well, as you can like imagine from what I just said, we have this talent all over the world, and
yeah,
I don't sit beside my peers either. Like, I'm in Winnipeg, like we talked about, and there aren't other people from Toptal here in Winnipeg, but we still have this passion for the company that you heard right away, and it's
yeah,
because they do a really, really good job of increasing engagement remotely. Like, we
that's
know the
powerful.
values, we know what the company's all about, and even though we're remote, we form this amazing connection to our company and to each other. And so, if you do it right, remote work can be so strong.
Yeah, so powerful, so powerful. Sounds like everyone should get to know Toptal,
Yeah,
and then they will be able
exactly.
to work with you.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, thank you so much. And when it comes to, because you just mentioned remote work, how long you been doing remote work?
For me, a couple years now. Not like about when the pandemic came around, and I know that's not our main focus of our conversation today, but I know a lot of people moved to remote work at that
Mm,
time. I had done it previously and kind of come back to it. I know, anyone freelancing or working independently right now, they've been doing it probably for a long time, and even more so, there's an extra layer there, because there's working remotely as part of a company, and then there's working remotely kind of as an independent contractor, like
that's
kind of
right.
where you might feel like you're by yourself. And so there's different ways you can connect to a community depending like where you sit. Obviously, if you're part of an existing company, they should be able to do a good job of making you feel connected to your peers within that company, and there's strategies they can use, and I've got resources I can point them to. But there's definitely a difference there. And at Toptal, they were the largest remote company pre-pandemic. So right from day one, they were a fully distributed
Always.
organization, meaning like we have employees all over the world, like more than 100 countries. And that was right from the day they started. So we're really lucky there, because they've really set up processes the right way right from day one, as opposed to like having an office and then kind of
Wow.
trying to pivot partway through when the pandemic hit. So that's, I think, why they've done such a good job. And they're really someone to look to if you're wondering how to do the remote work really well.
So you used to, there we go. I started most working remote more hours during pandemic time, like when this pandemic started, but you are more experienced on this remote. And it's fun, right? How do you feel about it? Because I know you feel all right, but how do you describe like for yourself, what is the most fun on remote work?
I think for me, in the role that I'm in right now, because we're a global company and the people that I get to serve, the talent, the freelance talent that's around the world, they're also, globally located. So for us, that's a really amazing opportunity to make connections and get to know different cultures, people from different communities, people from different areas of the world. Not everyone gets the opportunity to do that. If I was in a role where I physically had to go like fly for that connection to be normal, it would be a lot harder. Working remotely with people who are also used to it, you get to make these connections over Zoom, over streaming platforms,
Yeah,
because
right.
people are used to it, right? So that's such an amazing opportunity. Like, if you look back, right, to our grandparents, our parents, past generations,
They had to travel.
this was never an opportunity. If you wanted to meet someone from another country, you had to physically fly there. So it's such a neat opportunity to expand who you are, your understanding of the world, your acceptance of other cultures, other communities. So
Yeah.
that's such an amazing benefit. But
Okay.
Yola, you also asked like just general feeling about it, and I'm quite an extrovert. So, people do sometimes say like, do you not go crazy working at home, by yourself? But I think if you're truly set up remotely, you have opportunities available to you. So I think the biggest message is just to remember to leave your house sometimes. That's like the hardest thing that we run into, right? So,
Right.
I go to cafes sometimes to work, or like I can go, travel and work remotely because we are a global company. So doing those kind of things kind of reminds you of
How
still
good
being
is.
involved in your community. Yeah. And then you get that human interaction in person, maybe from strangers or people in your friends in your life. And you
That's
get the, virtual interaction for the other half.
it's so good. I love it. I love it. I just the fact that we can be anywhere at any time and we manage our time, and it's something that like you mentioned about get off of your house is so important. And also get off of your chair because
Yeah. I have a desk that's a sit stand desk. So I have to remember to do that too. Like remember to stand for half the day. Otherwise you get hip pain and back pain. Like unless you're 20, you're facing all those things if you
yes,
sit too
that's
much.
right. That's right. And you said you run a podcast.
I do, yeah. So it's so fun, like getting to speak to people like you, Yola, who get this like content creation and interviewing people. The show is called Start Canada Podcast, and we
Okay.
interview entrepreneurs or startups right from the heart of Canada, specifically. So I know
Yeah.
we're not in the same
Yeah.
place, but
Yeah.
we absolutely love it. It's an opportunity to really like showcase businesses who otherwise might not get that same attention. We're
That's so
in the
good.
province I'm in, right in the middle of Canada. It's not the biggest as far as, if people think of Canada, they think of maybe like Vancouver or Toronto or some of our major cities. So we wanted to really bring attention to amazing entrepreneurs from the prairies, from the middle of our country, and share their stories widely and really allow people to see like what are the resources that they use to start their business in our country? Like where can you go if you need help, and what are the lessons that they learned the hard way that they can share now so you don't have to, run into those same hurdles. And
That's
it's
so
just
good.
been such a great experience. You know, you've probably met so many amazing people, Yola,
Yeah.
doing this show. And, I get to do the same all with people that are local, that are kind of like near me in Canada, there's so much about supporting local out there nowadays. And that was really
That's
what
really
we were
good.
trying to do with our show.
That's really good. That's really good. Just made me think about it, like having an idea. But I will I will leave on the side. I put on my box. I was saying
Perfect.
the other day I had a podcast with another guest, and she teach me like she or he, I can't remember now. No, was a girl, was a lady, and she spoke about the entrepreneur box, which is something that we as entrepreneurs we have a lot of ideas and we always thinking something coming up. And now you just said about the local, and I thought like, okay, that's a good idea to be
Now you've
doing.
got another angle.
But I said no, right now I need to put on my entrepreneur box. Then I will be going
I
back.
know. There's always ideas, and that's, I think that's right in what you're talking about is a really important lesson too. I think, with our show, there's kind of two sides to what we've learned. And one is that so many entrepreneurs and startup founders will tell you the first biggest lesson, everyone says it, you just have to start. It was part of the reason we called the show Start Canada Podcast, because
Wow.
so many people will say, well, I'm kind of keeping my idea to myself until it's ready. Or, I'm not looking for help from other people because like I'm worried they'll take my idea or things like that. And people always say like, you're going to find a million excuses. You're going to want to like hide things. But until you start and you put yourself out there, it's unlikely you're going to achieve success because there are people willing to help you out there.
Yeah.
And you're just not putting yourself in the right like environment and headspace to grow your idea. So just like actually, first of all, just starting, like stop saying, I'm going to do it. I'm thinking about it. Start putting it down on paper, get it started.
That's right.
And once you do, share it with people because that's actually how you're going to achieve success. No one's like standing there locally beside you who you're talking to, waiting to steal your idea. Everyone's busy. And if you've already got something on the go, like that's the best thing to do. The
Yes.
second thing, that we learn along with that is that you just have to kind of like embrace the mentality of having these ideas, but at the same time, the big lesson is you have to be able to say no. And so, when you have this idea just now that you're thinking of like, maybe I'll do this local thing and I'll think about it later. But it's sometimes when people are in these roles, they feel like they have to say yes to everything. And it's
Mhm.
actually really, really a common trait. A lot of women have that trait of saying yes to everything because we've been in these scenarios of helping others often. But the big, like, the way to really get good at something and refine your focus is by not saying yes to everything. Like, if someone asks you to be on a show but you're too busy, like, you don't have to say yes. You can still find other ways to get yourself out there. And that's just one example, but remembering to like refine and say no is a really important piece.
Yeah. That's why I use the box, because I can make a note and keep it there. And then I go back to my box and I check, okay, now it's time to go for this.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
when you have capacity. Yeah.
yeah, totally. Otherwise, it gets too crazy. And now, one thing, like, in terms of women, like, you've been on this entrepreneurship, how we call, area, or you've been working for so many years with so many entrepreneurs around the world and etc. So have you met a lot of, how is the women inside this network, inside this freelancer company? Is a lot of women, or how is women in tech? How they
Hmm.
doing?
Hmm.
I think they're growing a
Yeah.
lot, right?
That's a great question. I've had quite the journey as a woman in tech or tech adjacent, depending how people want. I'm a programmer myself, but I have worked with a lot of technical people and in a
Oh my gosh.
lot of tech companies.
Ah,
That, like, there are a lot more men in tech, and it's still the case. However, the number of women is only growing, and it's very easy to see. And I
yes.
think, like, if I had a young daughter, the first thing I would put her in is tech related, classes, streams at school. There are so many opportunities and jobs in tech. And if you are a woman in tech, there are even more, because companies are realizing that they want diversity when they're creating technical tools. So think of, like, if you create an app that's meant for women and you have no women on that team, how successful is it going to be compared to if you do have women on that team? So,
Mm-hmm.
there are still less women than men, which means there are actually, like, a lot of opportunities for women to come in and make their place in tech. And there are people, I'll say there are people ahead of you who have already started doing it. So you're not alone. And there are amazing resources to help women in tech. So I would just even do, like, my advice, do a Google search locally, wherever you live, and look up like women in tech and then your city or your province or state. You'll probably find a group where you can find allies, learn from each other's experiences and sometimes from each
Awesome.
other's struggles. But there are groups out there dedicated specifically to helping entrepreneurial women, women in tech, women in business. So even if
Yeah.
you don't fall into those buckets. I think the biggest thing I would say is, like, don't be shy and don't wait. If you have an idea, like I said before, there's people there to help you, and you have to just start. And even again, if you're not an entrepreneur, but you still want to find that community of supportive women, there are groups everywhere. Like, we started one where I live called Manitoba Women in Tech. They're usually named quite easy for you to find them. And
Yeah.
so, and then don't feel bad asking your questions once you're there, because if you have that question, someone else probably does too, right? And we just have to remember, like, people are out there that want to help. And if,
It's
if
very
women are,
important.
yeah, and if people are part of these groups, they're there most likely because they either need help or they're happy to give help, or they wouldn't be there. So I think, like, don't be shy, really, like, put yourself out there. Um, and there are, like, when it comes to women in tech, women in entrepreneurship, I've just met so many fabulous women who are
Yes.
prepared to help you. So there's
Makes
one piece of advice too, Yola, that I've heard from many women in this environment, and that is that you can be more than one thing. So you don't have to just
yeah.
be a mom or a teacher or define yourself as a soft-spoken person, or so therefore, I can't do this, I can't do a presentation, I can't start a business, or define yourself as a helper. Like, you can be all of those things and also an entrepreneur, a leader, a change maker. So you can
Connect.
be whoever you want to be, and just,
Love it.
remember that as you're taking steps into something new is hard no matter who you are.
That's
And
true.
there's opportunity there, and we need to just continue to support each other. So great shows like this, to remember that.
Thank you so much. I love your energy. I just love it. I love the way you talk. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And now, I'm almost done. I want to know how can people join Toptal or find more information? Is there any website, social media?
Yes, absolutely. So with Toptal, it's just toptal.com. There's tons of information on our website about if you're looking for talent, freelance talent to help your company as a client, you can sign up on there and get more information. And if you're a talent, if you're someone who's working in freelancing and you're thinking, I would like to be part of a community where I don't have to find all my own work all the time or deal with all my own, accounts receivable. I want to just set my rate and be part of an amazing organization that has great clients. Toptal is definitely a place to check out. So just toptal.com. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on all the social media too. If you want to say hi to me, by all means, I'm Margaux Miller and I'm on all the
Oops.
platforms too.
I'm
You
sorry,
have a
my
friend there.
dog. Thank you.
And then, of course, with the podcast, if people are in Canada specifically, or you can be from anywhere, of course, to listen, but great resources for Canadian business entrepreneurs or people starting up their companies. So, Start Canada podcast, you can find me there too.
Fantastic. I do have your all social media and websites on the information on this this session. I'm so sorry about my dog, but he's so excited. My daughter just arrived. That's the way remote works. Remote. Sometimes
Yeah.
we have this kind of situation. But I was saying that everything about Margot and Top Tall is on the description of the podcast. And thank you so much for your presence. And I wish you all the best and keep with this fire and empower other people to be themselves and be successful. This is amazing. Thank you, Margot. Stay
Thank
blessed.
you, Yola.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Good.